All goals have approach and avoidance variations. An approach goal is about attaining something desirable, while an avoidance goal is about preventing something undesirable. Having a mastery approach goal means attaining a future where you get to be your ideal self. But having a mastery avoidance goal means preventing a future where you fail to become your ideal self. Both of these goals are working towards the same end, but pursuing them feels different. Mastery approach goals are enjoyable and sustainable. The joy comes from focusing on how you'll be rewarded if you succeed, and the sustainability comes from how easy it is to do something you love. Mastery avoidance goals, however, are stressful and exhausting. The stress comes from focusing on how you'll be punished if you fail, and the exhaustion comes from prolonged stress. The second step to loving your education is to encourage your subconscious to adopt the approach version of your mastery goal. There are 3 things that contribute to which goal type your subconscious adopts. Those things are environmental cues, mood congruence, and framing effects. Environmental cues and mood congruence both contribute to your goal type in a way that is instantaneous, constant, powerful, and outside of conscious awareness. Framing effects are less powerful, but they are within your conscious awareness, and you can intentionally manipulate them to move towards your approaching goals at any time. An environmental cue is anything that you are sensing in your environment, which, in the context of academic motivation, just means whatever room you're learning in. Your subconscious constantly scans your environment for signs of opportunities and dangers. When it senses opportunities, it has approach motivations, and when it senses dangers, it has avoidance motivations. So when you're choosing which room to study in, maybe make sure it's not on fire, and once you're sure it's not on fire, make sure your subconscious knows that too. This sounds silly, but your subconscious has deep associations that have been ingrained over 6 million years of evolution. So when it sees red, it thinks fire, danger, ah! But when it sees blue, it thinks water, refreshing, ah. Things as seemingly irrelevant as the color paint on the walls are taken very seriously by a mind that is still stuck in the past. The important environmental cues that cause approach motivations are the colors blue and green, ceilings higher than 10 feet, natural or white light, windows, and images of nature. The important environmental cues that cause avoidance motivations are the colors red and yellow, ceilings lower than 10 feet, harsh or dim lighting, clutter, disgusting smells, and a lack of windows in a cramped space. Your subconscious is biased towards avoidance-based environmental cues, so it's better to study in a room with no opportunity or danger cues than to study in a room with both opportunity and danger cues. When it comes to choosing where to study, your subconscious is picky and stubborn. You can't convince it that red rooms and tight spaces are safe, so the best thing you can do is work with your subconscious by finding a place you both like. Mood congruence describes how certain emotions and sensations bias us to think about things that involve similar emotions and sensations. For example, when you are upset, it's easier to remember other times when you were upset, and it's easier to imagine that the things you do will have upsetting outcomes. So if you're currently enjoying yourself for reasons other than pursuing an approach goal, then you are more likely to see your goals as approach goals. And if you're stressed out for reasons other than pursuing an avoidance goal, then you are more likely to view your goals as avoidance goals. In this way, joy is both the cause and the effect of approach goals, and stress is both the cause and effect of avoidance goals. So we need to take into account how your goals become congruent with your emotions. I like to think of mood congruence as emotional inertia, where feelings keep going until acted upon by an outside force. Another aspect of mood congruence is experiencing strong physical sensations that are congruent to either approach or avoidance goals, even when those sensations have nothing to do with your actual goals. So sitting in a comfortable chair while studying will make studying feel comfortable, and having back pain while typing will make typing feel painful. Strong approach emotions include joy, satisfaction, curiosity, and fun. Strong avoidance emotions include boredom, fear, anxiety, and stress. Strong approach sensations include comfort, warmth, and stimulation. And strong avoidance sensations include hunger, thirst, being chased by a tiger, being on fire, being cold. Mild stress and anxiety can be relieved by chewing gum, eating snacks, and taking deep breaths. Catastrophizing can be interrupted with grounding techniques, such as the one where you name 5 things you can see. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you feel, and 2 you smell. However, you'll need a way to remind yourself to do this while you're catastrophizing. For generalized anxiety disorders and chronic pain issues, the best I can do is recommend professional help. Another neat trick to make use of mood congruence is consuming something with sugar, caffeine, and warmth, like coffee. This is why a hot coffee with a lot of sugar is a scholar's best friend. The third thing that contributes to which goal type we adopt is framing effects. Framing effects describe how presenting the same information in different ways results in different emotional and behavioral responses. For example, 80% fat-free ice cream is seen as healthier than ice cream labeled 20% fat. What's relevant for approach motivations are 1. Positive frames, 2. Self-determination frames, and 3. Connotations. Positive frames are the simplest and most direct frames that focus on the good rather than on the bad. For example, I will become my ideal self if I study is a positive frame by focusing on the reward of success, whereas I won't become my ideal self if I don't study is a negative frame focusing on the punishment of failure. Self-determination frames describe your behaviors as resulting from choices you make rather than resulting from external pressures. In the context of education, self-determination frames describe you as making an active decision to engage with your education rather than passively reacting to the assignments given by your professors. For example, I'm choosing to read this chapter because my professor said it has important information that I want to know. Is a self-determination frame by acknowledging that the behavior is something you are choosing to do, whereas I have to read this chapter because my professor said it has important information that will be on the test, is a non-self-determination frame because it suggests that your professor is forcing you to engage in the behavior. Now let's talk about the last framing effect, connotations. Connotations are emotional responses to words that are separate from their literal meaning. The same meaning can be referenced with 2 different words and provoke 2 different emotional responses. Some connotations have predictable responses for most people, while others have different responses for different people. For example, most people would feel flattered if they were described as spontaneous, and those same people would likely feel insulted if they were described as impulsive. But other words, like studying and reading, can cause different reactions in different people. Framing effects do not occur automatically, and they aren't as influential as environmental cues or mood congruence, but you can use them at any time by verbalizing your intentions shortly before engaging in your goal-driven behavior. Verbalizing your intentions will guide your subconscious toward adopting approach goals if you focus on the reward of success, emphasize that you are making a choice, and use words that feel pleasant to you. To summarize, you adopt an approach goal by studying in a room with blue or green colors, high ceilings, big windows, natural lighting, and images of nature, so that the environmental cues put your subconscious at ease. You sit in a comfortable chair with a full stomach and a cup of sugary coffee so that good old mood congruence can increase your sensitivity to approach signals. And you verbalize your intentions in a way that feels good and empowering to nudge your subconscious in the right direction. Do this, and your studying will feel more successful and stressful.